Marissa, how you doing?
Phenomenal. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being with us today and sitting down and spending some time with us.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. I just got the notification on my phone that we're going live. That's hilarious. Because I follow
Going
you guys
live.
on Instagram. That's so hilarious.
Well, for the people watching, Marissa, you have a really significant role in LifeMark.
I do.
Hey, can you just tell us a little bit about that?
So I play the younger Melissa. We just talked about that. That's so funny. I play the younger Melissa.
The
So
teen Melissa.
the teen Melissa. I play Melissa at the age of 18 when she finds out that she is pregnant in the first place. Um, and deciding what to do about it. So, um, definitely, definitely a pretty pivotal part in the movie that I get to play. It's a big responsibility, but I'm really blessed that I get to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about those scenes? I mean, I don't want to, don't feel, don't give away too much, but
Yeah.
what was it
Well,
like to film? I mean, I'm just trying to imagine. We had the opportunity to come on set and see some scenes
yeah.
being filmed, and it was emotional just seeing the scenes that we were watching. And I didn't actually see you film your scenes, but I can only imagine how emotional that was.
Yeah. It was it was really hard to say. Without giving too much away, there are probably two scenes in particular that come to my head right away that were the hardest to film. Um, just it's so emotionally draining to do it over and over again because most of the time I'm bawling my eyes out or just having a dialogue with another character about something that's really difficult. It was really hard. It took a lot of uh, prayer and relying on the people around me. Thankfully, we have a prayer team on set that was always praying over us. And without giving too much away, there's this one day in particular where we filmed. It's probably the hardest scene for me. Um, and it was so just reading it on paper, it was so intense that everyone on set was always like, "Ooh, next Thursday is the big day." Oh, and then, "Oh, tomorrow's the big day. Like, how do you feel?" I'm like, "Oh, I mean, it's gonna be fine. I don't really know. I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna trust that it's gonna be fine." And I get to set that morning, and I go into my dressing room, and I'm just preparing for the day, and there's a note on my desk in my dressing room, and it was from one of the women on our prayer team, Janet. Um, and it was just a short, sweet note. I have it right behind me on my board because it's so sentimental to me. I can't possibly let it go. But she just writes in there like, I want to let you know that we've all been praying for you today. We've been praying for you leading up to this moment. But she wrote something in the note that stuck with me. And I can't forget it. I'll never forget it. And she wrote, "I'm praying that God will supernaturally fill you with the same feeling that Melissa felt that day."
Wow.
I was like, "Ooh, that's like chills." I'm like, "Ooh," because I don't know if I want to feel that feeling, um, and I don't know what
Did that,
happened.
did that make you more nervous
Oh,
or the same level?
it made me more nervous. It made me more nervous, but I don't know what happened to me because you were on that set. Everyone on that set is an amazing person. I trust them. Um, I love them. They love me back. I was completely comfortable, and they just completely flipped the set around and turned it into, like a, well, I don't want to give it away, but they completely changed the room to what I'm used to that room being. So it didn't even feel like the same room. I walked into that room and instantly there was like rocks on my shoulders. I don't know what
Wow.
changed. I just walked into that room, and then it was a room that I had spent time in with Justin and Raphael and Ian and laughing and having a good time. But all of a sudden, it was just different. That room was just completely different. The atmosphere changed. And for the first time in about 2.5 years in that room, I had a horrible panic attack. And it was so bad that when we stopped rolling and we were going to move the set design around a little bit to get a different angle, um, I looked at Kevin, our director, and I said, "Are we done?" And he just shook his head. He could tell that I wasn't doing very well, and I got up and left.
Wow. How many times did you I think when everyone sees the movie, they'll know what scene you're talking about. How
Yeah,
how many times did you film that scene?
it took a few hours. So, and
Man.
it's a really short scene, but it takes hours. That's just what it's like.
And
Um,
one of the most powerful scenes in the
yeah,
entire
it was
movie.
powerful scenes. So I got up and I left, and uh, Melissa and Dawn, the other actors playing Melissa, they met me at the door because they were watching me on the monitor just over the wall. They were watching me, and they just they met me at the door as soon as I walked out of that room because I couldn't handle it. I walked out and they were right there. And I just like I lost it. I just completely just sank because it was so hard. And I can't even imagine then what I felt was just a fraction of what Melissa actually was feeling that day when you were there inside of her womb and she went through that whole thing. I can't even imagine if I just felt a fraction of it what she actually went through.
Right.
So they met me at the door and I just broke. And Kirk, Kirk thought we were having a cute little moment. He took a picture of us. He thought we were. He thought, oh, I need to pull it up. It's so hilarious. He,
I never heard that.
yeah, he thought we were just having a sweet moment, and
Oh,
it really was just taking a picture of me having a meltdown. And there's Dawn and
wow.
Melissa like hovering over me, praying over me, and we took a minute. We went to the dressing room, and I just had to decompress. So I halted production for probably 30 minutes just to calm down, and then we came back um, to
But
finish.
what a memorable photo to have, though, even though
I
he didn't know
know.
he was taking it of,
No,
right?
I don't know. He was taking it, and he was taking a video of Melissa as she was watching the monitor while
Mhm.
I was filming that scene, and he sent that to me as well. And it was just you could tell the look on her face, like she was watching it being reenacted right in front of her, and it
Yeah.
was really hard for her too. It was hard for all of us.
What a powerful moment, though, to film that scene with the actual Melissa there watching
Yeah,
and the other actress that plays the more mature Melissa.
yeah,
That's incredible.
it's crazy. I mean, it's an honor, but it's crazy.
How close was that the first time you had met Melissa when she came on set?
Oh no. The first time I met Melissa, I think I had already been on set for like 2 days or so. Um, and I was so nervous to meet her. I was so nervous just because I can't imagine meeting the actor playing you and how crazy that must be. But yeah, I think I had known her at that point for maybe like a week and a half. But in that short time frame, we had all become so close with each other. So it was she just automatically became a safe place for me to rest um,
Yeah.
during those hard times.
I had Dawn on here a few weeks ago and got to, learn a little bit about her relationship with Melissa. What was that like just to have both of them there? I mean, is there can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, they're both incredible women that I've come to know and love so much. Like I mean, I talked to Melissa on the phone just a few days ago. We were on the phone for an hour talking about anything and everything. Um, and I've played the younger version of other actresses before, but it was nothing like this. You
Did
know,
did did having the more mature character of Melissa, and also your relationship with Melissa help with preparation for you playing those scenes? Like, how much did that influence your work and
yeah.
learning the lines and all that?
Like so, when I compare working with Dawn versus working with that other that I played the younger version of, um, it was not a faith-based set. It was very much just they flew me in and I did my job and then I would fly back home. Um, but with Dawn, we spent so much time together studying Melissa. We spent so much time talking about her internal motives, like why does she say the things that she says or do the things that she does. Um, what are her feelings throughout all of the script. Really studied her together. We spent a lot of time as well with Sherry Rigby, our coach on set, and she really worked us um, to the point where Dawn and I would just end up like matching mannerisms with our hands and our facial expressions during filming without even talking about it first. Because once we established the inner stuff, the outer the mannerisms, like the way we would touch our face, and it just happened naturally.
I'm fascinated by this just because I know nothing about acting, and this is just amazing to me to hear, what y'all do to really get the character down.
Yeah, it's intense. It's hard, but I mean,
It's a lot of work.
yeah, it's a lot of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I asked Dawn this too, and I want to ask you because you're also a Melissa character. If you had to describe, and I know this may be hard to do, but if you had to describe your character in 3 words, what would those 3 words be, and why?
That's so easy. Um, that's so easy. I don't know what Dawn said, but I would say she is tough, strong, very tough and strong, but also very tender in the heart and very relational. She's a very relational person. Um, and that's just what I would have used to describe her just a few days after meeting her. And so it definitely translated into the character um, when we were breaking down that character and making sure that we were going to do it right, because we wouldn't want to paint Melissa in a way that wasn't accurate to her. And
Mhm.
so just getting to know her, she's definitely tough and tender, relational, very loving.
You and Dawn did a great job
Thank you.
summarizing that. That's a great answer.
Yeah,
Um,
did something
what
right.
what when did you, in terms of like the broad process of you getting where you are today with this movie, how did you first learn this was based on a true story? Was that thrown out as like, hey, from the very beginning, like this is a true story, you'll play this actor? I mean, you'll play this
Well,
person?
before I even auditioned and just heard about this, I knew it was a true story. And honestly, that's what drew me in more with it. The
Hmm.
fact that it was a true story, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to be a part of it. I have to do this. I love true stories. The first time I heard about LifeMark was from Kirk. I used to work with his daughter Bella at my church. We used to lead worship together at my church.
Oh
And,
wow.
and he came to my church to have like a Christmas worship night, and we all decided to go out to dinner afterwards as with our families. And at that point, I had never met him before. That was the first time I was meeting him, and he was lovely and so kind, and um, just very very respectful, and just a great man. We went out to dinner, and he just asked me a little bit about myself, and I kind of told him what I do, and he had a baby feet pin on his suit, like I'm sure you've seen it where like the heels come together and it's like a
Yeah, like the little small pin.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked him about his pin. He said, "Oh, it's a pro-life symbol." And I'm actually about to start working on this movie with the Kendrick brothers, and it's based on a true story. And he explained the whole story to me, and I was just in awe. I was like, "That is incredible that it's a true story." And then he told me about the documentary, so I wrote it down and I made sure to go watch it later. But it was that just knowing that it was a true story, it drew me in closer, and I was like, I have to be a part of this somehow because it's a true story. It's one thing if it's some people in a room writing a story, that's still amazing, but something so special to me about a true story, um,
Yeah.
and adaptation of that.
And you did the real person justice. I mean, you were fantastic in your
Thank
scenes. I mean, it's like I said before, some of the most emotionally grasping scenes of the whole movie.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
think it's really gonna touch people and change a lot of hearts and minds on this issue.
I hope so, definitely.
So earlier you said you met Kirk at that point.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about, so what was it like to be on set with Kirk and the Kendricks? I mean, we know about the prayer team, but what like how was it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, nothing I'm honestly afraid that nothing else in my career will ever live up to that experience because it was just working with them was incredible. They were they are the kindest people. And I mean, I've been on a dozen sets before, and most of the time they don't really pour into you. and they don't really want to know the ins and outs of your life and what you're struggling with and what you're dealing with. But being on set with the Kendricks and with Kirk, they really just want to pour into you, and they want to nurture you and love you, because if you feel loved and you feel seen on set, they know your work is going to shine through, and it really has. I've never had an experience on a set like I've had with the Kendricks and with Kirk. Um, I mean, it's sets like that where you find some of your closest lifelong friends. Like I've met people on that set that are going to be there on my wedding day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's
the
amazing.
the way they pour into their talent and into the people that they work with, it really pays off, and they're just the greatest people.
Yeah, and I was only there on set for a day, and just the feeling, like, I was sad leaving. I feel like I've known you guys for 2 years now.
Right?
It was such
That's what it's like.
a happy, wonderful place to be.
It really is. Like even during the hard scenes that you just like I was like, I don't know if I can finish this. They're just right there, and they're going to work with you, and they're going to make sure that you feel okay going forward. Like with that last scene, with the scene that we discussed earlier where it was so hard that I step out, when I came back out, Alex Kendrick met me at the door to go back and set, and he said, "Are you okay? We don't have to keep going. We have what we need. Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. We can keep going." It's just that the nurturing, it just unmatched.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, what's your, just going back to the general movie scenes, what is your favorite scene in LifeMark? Or most memorable scene?
Um, am I allowed to like say actually what it is because the movie isn't out yet?
Whatever
uh,
you wanna say,
gosh. You know what?
I won't tell.
Yeah, and all the like, the however many number of people that are watching. Um, ooh, I'm probably gonna have to say when Raphael, who plays you, when he meets Melissa again for the first time. I think that right there, it just, oh, it kills me because I was there just watching on the monitor when it was being filmed. I wasn't called that day. I wasn't working. I just wanted to come and hang out with everyone because everyone's the best.
Yeah.
Um, Watching that being filmed was just, oh, it was so gut wrenching. And Don was incredible. Raphael was incredible. I think that might be one of my favorite scenes. Um, and especially when little Courtney comes in and meets David for the first time. It's just, oh, it's so good. I think that's one of my favorite scenes for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just because that's one of the few that I was there for, but that scene, I agree with you. That scene's powerful,
So
and
good.
that's like the epitome of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And I remember
The build
standing
up.
there watching that, and to seeing everybody, do it over again, and it was just surreal. And I remember, we were all kind of teary, but my grandpa just started breaking down because that
Oh,
scene was so powerful.
I mean, I was like soaked in my tears and I was just sitting there. It was so good.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, do you have any good blooper moments in the movie?
I had to think about that for a second, but I remembered, and it was during another sad scene. I was sitting. We were filming a scene outside of a body of water. Just for a little bit of context, I was filming a scene with the other actor who plays the birth father, and we were just sitting outside of a body of water. It was meant for the scene, and I had a fishing rod, and we had to cast our line out into the pond. We're not, I mean, I'm not supposed to be crying, but it is a little bit serious, a little bit serious and emotional. We're having this deep moment with each other, and I feel something tug on my line, and it was so distracting because whatever it was attached to my hook was pulling on it so hard that I started laughing like psycho. And I said, "I'm so sorry. We need to cut. There's something on my line. There's something on my line." And we all fought. We were fighting with it, but we could not get it out. And eventually, whatever it was that was on the hook, it swam away. And it was just, to me, it was hilarious because it was such a serious moment. And then all of a sudden, I'm laughing like a crazy person.
So you had a fish on the line while you were filming that scene.
A fish, I don't, something strong because it kept pulling back at me. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
It was hilarious. I was laughing like a psycho.
How did y'all get those minnows that were on the line?
They just gave them to us. They were like, "Hey, here's a box of live bait." I'm like, "Great." So
Did you
like,
bait the hook?
huh?
Did you bait the hook?
I didn't have to, but Ian had to.
Okay. I had to ask for everyone watching. You'll get why I asked sooner than later.
You'll get why he asked.
So I don't have too much more for you. This has been absolutely fantastic, and I've learned so much just from the 20 minutes you've been on. In your opinion, can you tell everybody why they should go see LifeMark?
It's so timely right now, um, with everything that just took place in the U.S. Supreme Court with Casey and Roe versus Wade. Um, it's really timely, and now is the time for an adoption revolution. Now that a lot of women don't have access to abortion anymore, adoption is the adoption option is
Hey,
more
I like those words.
the adoption option. I learned that from you. It's more ethical, and it's just we need an adoption revolution. And so I'm hoping that everyone that's watching this movie is going to take it and run with it, because that's clearly that's clearly the better option in this case. Um, I'm really hoping that it'll inspire people to reach out to women in their communities that need them, to reach out to pregnancy centers. I know for sure, for me in my hometown, just with before LifeMark has even come out, I've reached out to my home church that my parents are still at, and we're already starting a group with Embrace Grace, which is a pregnancy center group that started here in North Texas. Now they've reached worldwide, and we're working with them personally to change the culture within the church and to make it a safe place for women to feel comfortable to step forward, because oftentimes it's so much easier for them to pay a couple $100s to a Planned Parenthood
Yeah.
than to be brave and step into the church that she doesn't even know will help her or not, whether she'll feel ashamed or guilty, whether she's had an abortion or is considering it. And so I'm hoping that LifeMark is going to change the culture of America, and that it's going to change the culture of the church where it's most needed. Um, my my own mother, I think I saw her comment. I think she's watching. She's even starting to use her own story with her unplanned pregnancy when she was 17 to start this group in my church, and to use.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so I was able I'm just so thankful that I was able to use my mom's story and some of her experience to help with my understanding of this role. I didn't just want to dive in, because I mean, I've never had an unplanned pregnancy. I don't know. You can't possibly relate to something like that.
Right.
There's my she just Oh, and my mother. Yeah, my mom just commented, my godmother, she's an adopted child. And so she has been able to establish a relationship with her birth mother even after her adoption. And I know she's told her birth mother about LifeMark, and they're planning on going to see it. I hope
Oh,
it
that's
can I hope it can mend relationships between birth mother and adopted child. Um, there's so many things that this can do, and we're already seeing it happen.
so
So
this issue hit home for you too. I mean, this is an important role for you.
this is so important to me, and I've always had a heart for women going through this. I mean, I had between my mom, my and some even a friend that I had that was dealing with this. It's just it's more common than people realize. There was a surge of unplanned pregnancy statistics in the early 2000s and the late 90s, but like it still happens a lot, and it's so much easier and less shameful usually for women to just walk into a clinic.
Yep.
And so we need to be prepared. We need to be pro life for the whole life, pro abundant life, and not just say, thank you, come again, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think this movie is going to be a great resource for that. I think people are going to be touched. People are going to be inspired, and they're going to be captivated by all the scenes, but your scenes especially because they're some of the most powerful scenes in the movie. And
Yeah.
I think your character and your role is really going to change a lot of hearts and minds on this issue. So
Me,
I'm just so thankful you're a part of this.
Me too. I really hope that those scenes that were really hard to film, I know that some girl is going to be watching it, and whether she's already in that position or is going to find herself in that position here pretty soon, you know, um, I hope that she can look back on what she has seen in LifeMark, and maybe look back on scenes that we're talking about, and let that be a source of hope for her, and a sign that she can do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Marissa. That's all I had today. I mean, you've been
That's
fantastic. I think
it.
people learned a lot, and
Yeah,
people are excited about this movie.
we're so
Um,
excited, and I can't wait to see you for the premiere.
yeah,
We are
coming up
we're
Sunday.
fun. Huh?
Sunday.
Sunday, and then again here in a couple weeks, and it's
Yeah,
so great. And I think it's so hilarious too, where one of our premieres is going to be, um, right smack in the center where a lot of these decisions with abortion have been made.
yeah,
Which it's just perfect. God's timing never fails, and it's perfect. And for such a time as this,
absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
You so
Uh,
much.
yeah, absolutely. LifeMark releases September 9th in a few weeks. So make sure to go get your tickets at lifemarkmovie.com. Thanks,
Yes.
Marissa.
Thank you, David.
Bye.
Bye.